Hey everyone, welcome to Writing for the Media. I'm Professor Chiara. I want this video just to be an introduction to this course. I know some of you might be a little nervous because maybe a few of you may have never even taken an online class before, might not have done a summer class before. This might be a class that's outside of your major. So I know the summer gets all kinds of variety of students. So I wanted to really just explain to you a little bit of where this course is going, how it's set up on Blackboard, so you understand the rhythm, and just start to become familiar with this. It's only 6 weeks, I know that, but you'll see very quickly you'll get into the rhythm. I try to keep this class consistent. I try to keep things very organized so that alleviates some of that anxiety that you might have about going online and not being able to find things and the other issues that might happen with not being on an in-ground class, an on-ground class. So that's what we're really going to do in this video. You're going to see that there's really two videos this week. There's this one where I'm just kind of laying out the introduction to the course itself. And then the other video is going to be focusing on week one, so the content for week one. So that's why there's going to be two videos this week. Normally what you'll get is just one video that covers the content for the week. I try to keep those under 20 minutes, and most of the time they are. They're usually between 15 and 20 minutes, and that's what you're normally going to have every week. Bear with me though this week because you're going to see, because it's the first week, this video is going to be a little bit longer because I'm introducing the course, and then the next video you're going to watch for week one might be a little bit longer because I want to make sure I say everything, spell it all out so you really understand it, and then moving forward you'll get the rhythm of things and I won't have to go in depth with everything that I'm covering. So let's get started though with this video covering the actual course and what you're getting yourself into. This is Blackboard. Many of you probably used it for classes, and if you haven't, you're going to get real familiar with the way that I use it. Let me just draw your attention to some of the main pieces that you're going to want to know. Announcements are here, and when you first come on to Blackboard, that's where you're going to go. Your landing pages, announcements. I don't use this that often, but when I want to broadcast a message out to the entire class, that's what's going up here. So it's basically like my way of just communicating things I think all of you need to know that might be outside of the content for that week. So each week we have certain content that you're covering, but if it's something that's not completely related to that or something that I want to make an announcement for the whole class, that's going to be the main place for that. Let me actually bring this to your attention over here too. Over here is our sidebar. This is where you can get to all of these different pieces that I'm talking about, these different sections. And I'm going to skip over my messages right now because I want to go to syllabus, because this is where I really want to start talking about what this class is all about. So I'm going to click on syllabus here. You see I've got a few things in this syllabus section. We'll talk about these two in a minute, but let's actually look at the syllabus itself. As you can see, it's not very long because the details are going to be on Blackboard, and you'll see as the weeks start to unravel. I get very detailed with assignments, due dates, points, all that stuff outlined on Blackboard. So the syllabus, think of it more as like a skeleton of the class. Think of it more as our contracts, which is basically understand where we're both coming from. That's really what the syllabus is. It's not necessarily what you need to be following each week to make sure you know what's coming up. It's just giving you the general guidelines. All right, I do not want to read this word to word for you because you can read yourselves, and in fact, I'm expecting you to read it yourselves this week. But I will point out some of the course objectives here because I think this is important. This is what I want you to get out of the class by the end of this class. I want you to gain an understanding of the best practices for writing in different industries in the media. So as you can see up here, we're focusing on print and broadcast news, advertising, and public relations. Those are the main areas of media that we're going to be analyzing, some media content that professionals are using in those fields, and then also what you're going to be actually writing for. So you're going to be writing stuff. That's really just, I think, the best way to learn in a lot of these cases, and doing exercises that help train you to write in these different formats of media. So it's like a media buffet. You're getting exposed to a little bit of these different media formats and being introduced the best techniques and the theory behind writing for these different media formats. You will achieve a higher level of creative and strategic thinking and communication. What I mean by this is, I want you guys to go to the new level. You're obviously all very intelligent. You've made it to college, so I know that you think about writing and how you communicate. Many of you are communication majors, so you think about this. But now we're going to take it a step above. Now I want you to really focus on, how is the other person on the other end going to receive this message? What things might be doing that I think are going to be interpreted one way, but it gets interpreted in a different way? uh, and those kinds of higher level thinking. So that's what I mean by that. We're going to really be strategic and methodical in the way that you communicate, because everything is intentional, and things that you might be doing that are not intentional could be leading you to not write as clearly as you think you could. You will produce high quality work for your portfolios. Basically, you're going to have a bunch of written content by the end of this that you could, have to showcase, that you could put on your website. It's basically just, again, adding material for you to show written content that you have that you've done yourself. Okay, here is just the grade breakdown. You're going to have 2 large writing assignments, each are worth about 100 points. It's 1,000 points for the entire class, right? It goes off our basic grade scale, so 90s are in the A range, 80s are in the B, 70s in the C's, 60s in the D range. So it's off the basic grade scale. You're going to have 2 writing assignments worth 100 points each. Those are going to be like news stories. You have 6 exercises. In fact, you're going to be doing 1 this week. So the exercises are, I guess, they're writing assignments, but they're on a much smaller scale. They're more for you just to practice and start to get familiar with writing in different media formats. So you have each of these that are worth 50 points. So obviously not as much as these writing assignments, but they are still going to take you some time. You have 7 chapter quizzes worth 350 points. Each quiz is worth 50 points. The chapter quizzes, you're going to be assigned readings. I'll explain that actually when we get to week 1, the week 1 video where I talk about the actual content, which you're going to be doing. But you're reading and you're taking a quiz on those chapters. It's open book, though, for most of them, because obviously you can use your book, and how would I know we're not doing it live. So that's why I do it. So it is a quiz, but it's also, I'm wanting you to learn what's in that chapter. Like the point of doing these quizzes is that you're actually absorbing what I think are some of the key points of the chapter. I think the best way to do that is to hold you accountable and make sure that you're reading or making sure that you're finding these key points. So there will be open book, but that is 350 points total. And then you have your final writing assignment, which is an expansion of one of these 2 first writing assignments, worth 150 points. So it's worth a little bit more. That's near the end, so we will talk about that in a few weeks, totaling 1,000 points. Here's just some, again, you could read through this, but I'll give you my highlights for each one. Here's the textbook. You definitely need this textbook. If you don't have it already, get it today, because your quizzes and the reading and the assignments are all based off of this book. Late work will not be accepted unless you have a reasonable, provable excuse. So here's what I mean by that. If you know that, I don't know, next week you have to take your mother to the hospital, and I don't know, you had the flu or whatever, something that's happening to you, proactively contact me. Let me know early. If you contact me early, I can usually work with you, right? For the most part, I can usually work with you. We can maybe extend it a few days. We can figure out what's reasonable. If you don't, though, and you just miss the deadline, and then you come back to me, you even say, oh, I was sick last week, or this happened, it's still a 0. Because I can't do retroactive and just say, okay, I'm going to extend this now for you, and you told me this. Deadlines are hard in the media industry. And I try to mimic this in a lot of ways, like the working world. So deadlines are hard. If you missed your news story, you've missed your news story deadline, and it doesn't go on air. It doesn't get published in the paper. It doesn't get published online. And you're probably not going to work at that news outlet again. If you're working in advertising or public relations, and they expect you to get a news release out by a certain day, and you say, "Oh, never mind, I'll do it." 2 days later, "Oh, I forgot to do it. I'll do it now." Well, it's too late. Your chance to get in the media has been missed, and your boss isn't going to be happy, right? So you probably won't even have a boss anymore because you're going to be fired. So I stick to the deadlines. Again, I'm reasonable, though. If there's an issue that you can foresee happening, let me know. But otherwise, if you missed it, that's okay. Just accept the consequence, move on. There's other assignments that you can still turn in on time. All right, don't plagiarize. It's a little harder in this class because you're going to be on your own, but if I catch you doing plagiarism, just as the student handbook says, it's an automatic F, and I have to report you. Class communication, and actually this will be a good time. I'll talk about this. Actually, I'll talk about this in a minute, but you're not going to be emailing me. What you're going to be doing is using the messages feature here in Blackboard. So I'll go over that again in a minute, but this is how I'm going to communicate with you and how you're going to communicate with me. But we'll revisit this in a second. Here is our rough outline. Again, not a lot of details because you'll be getting them each week, but you can just kind of see basically where we're going for the 6 weeks. Here is my grading key. So A is publishable quality. It's perfect, or almost perfect. Maybe one, maybe two such minor mistakes that I can quickly edit it. But this is basically, for these, let's say your news stories, I could look at this and go, yeah, this could run in the Hartford Courant, in the Hartford Business Journal, in the New Haven Register, whatever news outlet you're looking at. This could run tomorrow in it. I mean, it is high quality. Now, of course, I know you guys are all learning still, so I'm looking at through that lens. But it means that you met all the requirements that I asked, that there's no grammatical errors, that the structure is exactly what we've talked about. It's for what we're expecting this class, publishable. It's perfect. B, this is where most of you are going to fall, and I know students don't want to hear that because we all want to get the A's, and I want you to strive for an A, but this is where most of you are going to fall on a lot of these assignments, if not for the course. And that's because it's publishable with some editing, which means it was good. You did a good job, or you did a really good job, but there were some issues with it, right? There was a structural issue. You have a bunch of grammatical mistakes. You didn't get all the quotes you needed. You're missing a piece of the assignment, right? A small piece of the assignment. Well, then you're probably falling in the B range. It's good, but it wasn't perfect. And that's usually where a lot of us will fall on some of these assignments. C means it's average. Substantial editing was needed. So, it's the foundation is there, but there are a lot of issues. There were a lot of things that needed work. So a lot of pieces of the assignment that were missing. Maybe a major piece of the assignment was missing. So B and C, I know, can be a grainy area, but B is that it's close to the A. It's close to being perfect, but you had a few issues. C is you're way off. You need a lot more work. This looks more like a draft still, and we got a lot more work to do. D is, and let's just be honest, D is usually, oh, I got to get this done last minute. Type out something quickly, turn in. Ton of mistakes, things are missing, the assignment wasn't followed. Yes, you got something in, but it didn't meet any of these. And then F is unacceptable, so I really doubt any of you are going to be getting Fs. But where you could get an F is missed deadline, which we just talked about a minute ago. If you miss the deadline, it is an F. I don't care if you turn it in 10 minutes later from what's due on Blackboard, a day later, a week later. You missed the deadline. The deadline is the deadline. It's like a basketball game, right? You can make that three-point shot, but if it was 3 seconds after the buzzer or 2 days after the buzzer, it still doesn't count for the game, right? So don't miss deadlines. That's like bottom line of this class. Just don't miss your deadline. And then, of course, though, contact me if you have questions. And this is really important for this online class because we're not in that face-to-face interaction. So if you have a question about a grade, message me and we can talk about it. If you think I made a mistake and you have some evidence, you can show me where I made that error, send it to me. I'd be more than happy to talk about it. If I agree, and I have agreed before with students with this, I'll adjust and change the grade. But again, evidence has to be supported to support your claim. So it can't just be like, oh, I think I deserve an A. Well, why? Did I say you were missing your quotes and you have all your quotes and I just missed it? Well, then yes, we can talk about it. You show me those quotes that I missed. It's not just you didn't think that what I said was appropriate or for what you deserve, what you think you deserve. Then we have a little bit more of a back and forth, and usually you're going to lose that argument. Read over this syllabus again. Make sure you understand it. Come back to me with questions, and that's actually a good segue to my messages here. So my messages is your built-in internal email for this class, right? You have to go in here. You can send me a message, and I can send you messages. One thing I don't like about Blackboard, so you'll have to be aware of it, is that it won't tell you if you have a message. So it doesn't have a little icon that says, you have 3 messages in your inbox. So every time you come on Blackboard, a good habit is to click on my messages, see what you got in your inbox here, and see if I've sent you something. And of course, send me a message this way too, and this is how we're going to communicate. That actually also brings me into response time here. So I will respond to any message 48 hours, Sunday through Thursday, 72 hours, Friday through Saturday. So over the weekend, look, it's my summer too, and I might be out with my family over the weekend, barbecues, you guys know how it is. So it's going to be 3-day turnaround for the weekend. Monday or Sunday through Thursday, really what I'm considering like the working week here, I will get back to you within 2 days. Usually before that. It's usually a day turnaround, but I will get back to you within 2 days. You will hear from me. Just be aware of that. I'm not going to, if you message me at 3 a.m. in the morning, I'm not going to get back at you at 5 a.m. in the morning. I'm not on demand in this class. I will get back to you though. I will answer questions, but you have to give me an appropriate amount of time to be able to respond to you. I will also, and I really pride myself on this, I will give all graded work and feedback within 1 week from the assignment's due date. And the key here is the due date. So if it's always going to be due Sunday night before Monday. Even if you turn it in Thursday, though, give me a week from that Sunday night. So basically, within 1 week from when that due date was given, you will have that grade back and you will have feedback. All right, so we've covered this top area up here. Weekly content. This is where you guys are going to mostly be living each week, and these are all hidden because you see where you haven't gotten here yet, but each week you'll have access to that week's content. No, you cannot skip ahead because this class builds on itself. It's week by week. So this week here, I always give you the outline of what you need this week. There's the homework folder. You go in the homework folder. I've got what your homework is, right? And this is where you're basically going to find all your content. Speaking of homework, assignments are all here in the assignments tab, and they're in these folders. So your quizzes, we've got the first 2 quizzes already up. You can get to them through this way too. You have your exercises, which of course these again are hidden, but here's the one for this week. And your writing assignments, which have not been posted yet, but everything is in these assignments too. So you can get to them through the weekly content when the assignments are due that week, right? You can get to it through that week's module, or you could always just go to assignments and get to any of them after that through these folders. Discussion board, we're not going to worry about that yet. At some point, we're going to have a little conversation. Here's 2 big ones for you guys, but here's a major one, due dates. Click on due dates and look at this. Everything will pop up when things are due. So, for example, your first exercise is due here on the 26th. There it is. You can see, you can even click on it, and you can go to the assignment if you wanted to get the details. You see your chapters going to be due the following Sunday. All work is always due Sunday. It's basically before Monday, 11:59 p.m. on Sunday. It's always due before that following Monday. So you can always come here, though, to due dates, and this outlines when things are due. That's another reason why there really is no excuse for missed deadlines, because it's all here. You can always go on Blackboard, figure out when something is due. Your grades, you can keep track of what the grades that you have. You're not going to be able to see these yet, so don't worry about that. The other thing I will draw your attention to is the Help tab here for Blackboard issues. You can, of course, ask me a question on Blackboard, but I'm not the technical person on Blackboard, so I might not always know. I would first check here, which again is under Help. First check here, ask your question, look for it, and you could usually get your answer, the generic questions here. If it's something that's not covered here, or you're having a real big problem, let me know, and there is somebody here I can always contact if I don't know it either. But start here first. And then there are a few other resources for you down here as well. Actually, and while I was talking, I know, completely sidetracked now. For the book, this is the book that we're going to be using. So this is the one that you should have. Here's the picture for you in case you wanted to get a visual of it. But it's Writing, Reporting the News, A Coaching Method by Carol Rich. All right. That should cover the basic foundation of the class and Blackboard. I know it seems like a lot, but I'm telling you, you'll get into the rhythm. Things are very consistent in the class. So you'll get into the rhythm. Play around a little bit with Blackboard. You're not going to break anything, So play around with Blackboard. Make sure you feel comfortable getting in and out of these different tabs and finding things. Take a look at the syllabus. Message me if you have any questions. Send me a message. I'd be happy to help you out and answer something. But really, part of your work this week is just to be familiar with the class and get familiar with Blackboard. All right, now make sure to watch the first video for this week's content. I know these were long. Like I said, this first week is the long one because I got to get you in the flow of things. But now make sure you go watch week 1's video to see what you need to do for the content aspect of this week.